In terms of the school's thought process, the one thing that I think is extremely important, which is representative of its dharmic philosophy, is that the tendency to separate politics from academia or policy from academia and see them as two different walled gardens which operate in their own silos, I think has proven to be an utter failure. Surprisingly, that's not the model that's followed in the West. We seem to assume that that is the Western model and we seem to be following it here. So that wall has to be broken. Under our philosophy, politics is not a gutter that you're supposed to run away from or escape or evade under any circumstances. The more you do it, you're actually expanding the scope of that particular sewer, if that's what you believe it is. If you treat that as a societal yajna, then you have no other option but to contribute to it. So anything that you do has to translate to some kind of policy or has to translate to even politics. I have zero problems with the idea or the word of politics, not one bit. So this silo-based approach to civil society, to politics and academia needs to go. And I think it's a fantastic experiment and a fantastic incubator for you to pull all of these together, seam, let's say, all of these together and see how they work. So I can certainly say that people like me are more than happy to support initiatives that come out of this particular place. 100%. Because we've been waiting for somebody to do this because not everybody is an institution builder. So kudos to this team for having built an institution from scratch. Because anybody, I think, with some amount of effort, and there is always an incentive to be a solo act. Because you hog all the limelight, that always happens. But institution building requires a lot of patience, commitment, discipline, going to the nuts and bolts, having to make a lot of sacrifices. People with these kind of qualifications need not live here, seems to be the motto of this country at this point, where it is literally a greener pasture, or let's say a launch pad to a greener pasture somewhere in California or New Jersey or whichever goddamn place that is. I don't care. So the point is, for them to have sacrificed all their goals and for having done this, I think they deserve a round of applause. Please bear this in mind. Each time there is a teething issue that comes to your knowledge, bear this in mind. Be patient. As the product of a first batch of the IIT Law School, despite it being the IIT, so to speak, the law school obviously was a nascent institution that was free riding on the coattails of the IIT brand. It had no reputation of itself. I will never call myself an IITian, not at all. I'll be known only by my individual brand, not by as an IITian, because I don't have any right to lay claim to that particular brand under any circumstances. That is a brand created by BTECs. Others shouldn't be free riding on that particular brand under any circumstances. That's a sign of inferiority, and that's a sign of saying that you're not capable of creating another brand. I'm sorry, I don't agree with either. So therefore, you have the opportunity to do this. So bear this in mind and contribute, cooperate. So just as I say, break down the walls between, let's say, the praxis and theory. In terms of running this place, I think that wall needs to be broken equally, where I think there should be a spirit of cooperation, not trade unionism under any circumstances. Not at all. Having been a typical trade unionist last venture in my law school, I can say this for a fact. I was almost about to be rusticated in the 5th semester. I'd have been behind by an entire year. Fortunately, my grades saved me. Otherwise, I'd have passed out in 2010 as opposed to 2009. I had a midnight disco. Disco is disciplinary committee. IT guys will tell you. I had literally a midnight disco where I had to sign a contract basically saying, I will not do this again henceforth. But I was laughing as I was signing that contract saying, this has no legal validity. I know this. So, because a contract signed under duress has no value. So this is clearly under duress. And some genius also added this line that you will give up all legal remedies against any future disciplinary action. Array, this violates the Contract Act at the outset. So I said, that's precisely why I'm the last bencher who keeps smirking. So what do I do? You've drafted such a contract. So anyways, the point is, I don't think those antiques have any place here. Because I think you've made a much more sensible decision and you've thought through what you're doing. So give this your best. I will not take more time. I will support this institution to the best of my limited capabilities in every way I can. And I hope to see this as I won't use the word modern. I have a serious problem with the word modern. It, it has serious colonial underpinnings and undergirding. I'll simply call it contemporary Takshashila. I hope it becomes one. And therefore, the hope is that we don't keep citing one Chanakya and one Kautilya and one Arthashastra. And the hope is that more comes out of this place. All the best. Jai Hind. Vande Mataram.